What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 159. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Join the chat over there, join the fun, join the conversation. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support, leaving a comment, review, share it with your friends. Anything you can do to help us out would be greatly appreciated. It may seem small, but it helps the channel grow, goes a long way. So whatever you can do to help us out, once again, would be greatly appreciated. Today, we're going to be breaking this down into two topics today. And we're going to be starting with a little bit of a game talk, as we're going to be talking about a game I've been playing through recently since the holiday break. We're going to be talking about Marvel's Midnight Suns. So, if you don't know what Midnight Suns is, it is from Firaxis Studios. So, it is the team that worked on the XCOM series. And it is a turn-based strategy game, I guess is the best way to kind of describe it. And obviously, they got the Marvel licensing here. So, they decided to use that and tell a story with a little bit, some well-known heroes, some lesser known heroes, and your own create a hero and try and tell this story about saving the world. And I've been enjoying my time with it so far. The gameplay, like I said, is turn-based strategy, so it's your three heroes going up in different levels, rooms, however you want to describe that, and you have to accomplish a variety of tasks. So sometimes the room or the level can just be defeat all the enemies. Sometimes you need to recover certain artifacts in the room first. Sometimes you need to prevent things from leaving, escaping, destroying something, whatever it might be. And you need to use your heroes to do that in the level. So when it comes to your turn, I don't know if the XCOM games did this, just because I didn't really have an interest in those in the time those released with the Alien stuff, but Marvel's Midnight Suns gives you cards. So instead of other RTSs, for example, maybe a Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, just because I have a lot of knowledge with that, it doesn't alternate based on speed, like this character will go first, then this character, so on, so on, so forth. It is one team goes, the other team goes, and your actions are determined by cards. So Artemis has a lot to say about this. Each turn, your team has 3 card plays, so many I think only one movement, and then you can also redraw cards if maybe the card that you have in your hand at that time doesn't work for your strategy or is not super effective. So you can use up to 3 cards, play those however you want to try and either damage the opponents, eliminate them, or once again try and recover artifacts, stop things in the environment, whatever it may be. So you kind of have to plan it out what you want to do. And these cards, I think, are split into 3 different categories, like an attack, a support, and then some kind of heroic ability, which is a little bit more unique to them. So you could do all of your actions with one of your heroes. You could mix it up. Really depends on what you want to do. And then another way you can kind of add to your turn to make it a little bit more productive, I guess you could say, without using cards per se, is using certain things in the environment. So if there's boxes in a certain range, you could throw a box. You could jump off of a box to do an attack. You could activate something to fall down onto enemies. Kind of adds a little bit more freedom to your gameplay without necessarily having to use one of the card plays that you are allotted during that turn, or during that turn. After you do that, you wrap up, and essentially all the other enemies are allowed to do their actions. So pretty much most of the Hydra goons that you're fighting will shoot you. If you're fighting a harder boss, they may smack you, do a more special skill, whatever it might be, and then it'll go back to your turn. And I will say, from the gameplay that I've kind of experienced so far, I don't know exact hours. I would say maybe 10 plus, maybe a little less. From a gameplay perspective, it's great. I'm really enjoying what they're allowing the player to do and the strategy that you have to kind of build to do well in the story. But those moments are a little bit few and far between, and it can be difficult at times. Now, I've heard the XCOM series has a very, not a difficulty spike, but they can be challenging at times. So I kind of understand that, especially being the same developer, that would kind of be the case. So I get that, and I think just more repetition, more practice, kind of, as people say with many games where it's a leveling up process, putting the, grinding out those levels or experience, getting the heroes stronger. I think over time it will get easier, or at least more effective in between the characters. So I like the strategy aspect that they add. Now, this game is kind of like a two-sided coin here, where you have the real-time strategy and the turn-based stuff going on, but on the other side, you have like this social mechanic game, I don't know, relationship building type thing. And to be honest, it's not entirely what I was expecting. And it's not a bad thing. It's just weird in some ways. So all of the heroes kind of hang out at this base. And during that free time, you're allowed to roam free, explore the manor, and you kind of build social relationships with your team, become friends with them, and these will, help you, give you some bonuses, some stats. You kind of learn some backstory with your heroes, what they've gone through. There's a lot of different references for things that are in the game and just in the Marvel universe entirely, of different heroes and things that they've done and events that have transpired. And it's cool to get all these Easter eggs and lore, but sometimes it's just, I guess, cheesy or hokey could be the right word. For example, at some point early on in the game, you get introduced to like a social media mechanic that's just like a social media for superheroes, and it's so weird to see them commenting on things that others are doing, or like things that have gone on the manor. It's like, why do we need this? I could get it for like, it's a social media network for like heroes across the globe, and this is a place where you could talk about crimes that are going on. And some of the things that are posted there are that, where they're reporting like, oh, something's going on in this area, or this hero's in trouble here, and that's good. But then there's the other mechanic where it's like manor to manor things are going on. It's like, this seems dumb. Why not just talk to the people in the same building you're in for whatever is going on? But it's one of those things that I feel you have to experience to get more of a feel of than just my poor description of it. But that seems a little hokey at times. The hangouts with the different heroes is fine. It's another way you can kind of learn a little bit more of their backstory and things like that. I don't think it's 100% necessary, but once again, it's okay overall. It makes a nice little balance between the strategy aspect. I will definitely say, once again, I do like the strategy aspect. It's just, it's broken up so much that sometimes it's not hard to get into, but it splits the day into like day cycles, or splits the gameplay into day cycles. So you wake up, you can free roam. So there's usually things that you need to do or can do, have the ability to do, where it's unlock resources that you did in the last mission, kind of figure out what tools they will allow you to build upon to make your team stronger, whatever. You do that. You do daily training, which improves your character and gives buff to the heroes that participate in the training with you. You can send out heroes on their own missions, so they're gone for a day or two to do a certain task so they can gain experience that way. And then you accept your mission. Great. You do your mission, you do all the time, or the card stuff and the strategy stuff, and then it's the nighttime free period, which once again you're able to roam, explore, wherever. That's where you do the social hangouts, and then you go to sleep, and it's rinse repeat. it's not a bad cycle, but when only the strategy part is that middle part where it's one mission a day, maybe it's just the way I'm playing because I am somewhat enjoying the social aspect, or at least learning the backstories and doing the exploration aspect of the manor and seeing what secrets lie in it. The missions themselves feel far and few between. I guess you could cut out all that stuff, or at least make it a quicker experience where you're like, okay, checklist in the morning, boom, 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 go to the mission, don't do anything at night, whoosh, and go to it. It's just you would obviously be giving up getting those buffs or building those relationships to make your team a little bit more effective in the strategy part, is what it is. Another thing this game has is a lot of different difficulty options, which I know not everybody really likes the whole challenging part of games. You know, play it how you want to play it. Sometimes it's just more of a relaxing experience. I haven't messed around with that, but at the very beginning of the game when you set it up, you can see how many difficulty options there are, and holy crap, there are a lot. I think I'm just playing at like setting 2, which is normal, but then they got like 3 harder difficulty levels from there, and then another 3 on top of that where it's like not ultra hard, but whatever you want to call it. I'm just like, from playing it, I'm like, I don't even know if I want to bump it up 1 level because I've had my difficulties. Now, obviously you do get rewarded for doing these higher difficulties. You will get more resources or things that you can use to upgrade your heroes or change your customization for what colors they're wearing, outfits they're wearing, whatever it may be. So you will be rewarded for doing that if you choose to take that route. It's just, for me, it doesn't seem super appealing, at least right now. Maybe I'll reach a point where, yeah, I've reached my ceiling with this one challenge or this one area. Let's bump it up. So I mentioned before, it's kind of a mix of heroes that are established or at least more well-known, and then the mixture of newer heroes, people who might not be known, as well as your creative hero. So as of right now, I just got to, if people have played it, I just dealt with the last part for Dr. Faustus, so that's probably still really early. But on the team, I have myself, so the creative hero. We got Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, and then you have Blade, Nico, which I don't remember her last name. You have Magic and Robbie Reyes and his Ghost Rider iteration. I believe that's everybody that I have so far. Throughout the game, there will be more that we kind of join or that will join the team, at least based on, cover and things that they've added. So Wolverine will be part of it. Captain America will be part of it. They have announced a season pass, which as of recording, Deadpool is going to be the first release in about 4 days. So Deadpool will be there. Venom. Morbius, I think, is the last one. And then there's one other I'm blanking on. I think it might be Hulk. I don't know if there's any other heroes besides that they have either announced or whatever. I guess let me look at the box here. No, I think that's everybody. At least from, marketing stuff. There could be others. So all the heroes I bumped into and have joined the team seem cool. Nice to see Insomniac Spider-Man's voice actor, Yuri, don't remember his last name, but nice to see him reprise his role as Spider-Man in this game. Each of the characters feel different, and with their cards, it feels unique to use them. I will say Nico kind of intrigues me, the most. She's one of the new ones where I don't know much about her character and backstory, but her cards are very, I guess random is the best word you could use for it. It's a wide variety of skills that she can do, whether it's healing, attack, whatever it may be. And some of her cards are literally called roulette, so you can attack an enemy and it will do damage, but then it will give a random status ailment. So they may be stunned, they could be dazed, they could, for some reason, get armor. It's really up to the card. But it's an interesting one to play with. Other characters that I really enjoy, I've really enjoyed Ghost Rider. He has some cool chaining abilities where if he knocks out an opponent, he can continue the streak from there. And same with Blade. Blade has another one that's along those lines. So every character I've played with so far has been fun. And with it being only the 3 characters, you cycle in and out who you're going to use. If it is a main story quest, usually your create a hero is locked into that one slot, and then you fill the other 2. And then if it's the side quest, you could fill it however you'd like to. And while the side quests might not be the most unique in their gameplay like goals, because it's usually something you just did, once again defeating enemies, stopping something from leaving, whatever it is, it's not exciting per se, the objective, but it is nice to... The gameplay itself is strong enough that it doesn't feel boring, I would say, at least so far in my opinion. It's something I want to jump back into each and every time, and like I said, it does benefit the team overall. It's just a little bit of a grind, but luckily it is fun, so it hasn't, once again at this point at least, dragged on or seemed like anything that is bad. It's a good gameplay loop. So let's talk about the create a hero that you have. I don't know, it's Firaxis, so I don't know much about their creation suite. I do see a little 2K logo on here. I will say I do recognize a little bit of 2K's creative suite and their customization. Create a hero doesn't look super. I mean, it gets the point across of like, yep, that's what I was aiming for. Obviously, like most creative things, at least in games, your character model definitely stands out from the others. Duh, you didn't have this one character model particularly tweaked, worked on to fit into the world. So they do stand out kind of like a sore thumb. Hair, especially, it just looks like not even a wig, just it's there. There's not a lot of texture to it or whatever. But your character is unique in the fact that it's an RPG as well, where you kind of decide how aggressive your character is going to be. You're not able to pick like, oh, I'm going to throw flames or I'm going to have magic spells or whatever, at least to the point that I'm at. You start off with 2 swords, and you have different abilities where your swords will kind of turn into a whip, so you can do knockback abilities. You can heal your opponent, or not heal your opponents, heal your allies, and do different effects like that. At some point, I think you'll be able to change your weapons. At least that's what it shows in the customization. They give you a generic suit, but you can choose different colors once you unlock different color palettes. But yeah, it's interesting the story that they're telling with this created hero. So the main story that they're telling with Midnight Suns is this evil demon witch has been resurrected by Hydra, and they're trying to, she's trying to take over the world, cause mass destruction. Shocker, right? Comic books. So the Midnight Suns, which is like this secret society, along with some of the Avengers, are trying to stop this, and the way they decide will be their best possibility for stopping this is kind of resurrecting you, which you happen to be the son/daughter of Lilith, the big bad that was also revived. 300 years ago or so, you were able to defeat her, and then something happened to you where you were put to rest, so they resurrect you there as their best bet to stop her again. So that's the whole gimmick there. That's why you're a creative hero, I guess you could say. It's interesting as your character kind of, once again, you're learning, this hero is learning at the same time you are of like the backstories of everybody and kind of dealing with the situation of being 300 years in the future from when you last left off. So learning different things, social cues, your dialect. It's fun, and like I said, a little corny, a little cheesy at times, but from a gameplay perspective, it works. Character model, yeah. I will say, on the other side of this, customization, there is quite a bit of it. Maybe not for how your character looks, but in appearance for everything. There are a wide variety of costumes that you can unlock for your Create a Hero, along with palettes. They do take some time to get, but they are available to you. You can change your character at any point, so if you want to modify their look, that's great. I don't know if you could change to the opposite gender at any point. Probably not, but the other options are there for you to change. And you can also customize your hero team. Obviously, with with the heroes that you take on the missions, you can customize that, but you can also customize their looks. I don't know how many outfits are available to them. When I got the game, I was lucky enough to get the season pass, so it kind of gives them a few more outfits or costumes, tires, whatever you want to call them, in the beginning. So you are allowed those, and I'm sure over time you will unlock more in the game. And some of at least the base costumes do also have different color sets as well, or color palettes that you can do and get by building those friendship levels with the heroes themselves. So that's nice. A small little feature that I don't know if they added in a patch after the game or if they included, but usually in games, if you select an attire for a character, that's what they wear, until you change it. There is an option to change their outfit daily. It's a small thing, but I think that's nice. It kind of keeps it fresh. If you like a lot of looks, you can just have them cycle. I don't think there's a list of you could toggle favorites and then it cycles through those favorites. I think it just cycles through everything, but it's a nice little touch if you decide to toggle that on or whatever. And the same goes through for their casual wear. So while they're walking around the manor, they can be wearing a variety of t-shirts if you unlock them. You could cycle through those, or you can customize those as well. There's also a pool there, so there's fucking swimsuits to unlock if you want to do that.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. It's a little it's a little weird because it's okay, you have the female characters where it's okay, 2-piece or 1-piece, but it's there's no designs or anything. It's just flat color. And then the dudes, it's board shorts or slightly shorter booty shorts. It's okay. Why? So I guess you can be a little horny on main with that if you want your heroes in the swimsuits or whatever. But it was an interesting choice. I guess I'll say that. So you got that. So we already talked about the created heroes character model. How are the graphics of the game in itself? Graphics, I think, are good. They're not amazing like some other games are, but I think they're adequate enough that it's kind of got this weird it looks like a comic book. I wouldn't say it's cell shaded or anything, but it's good, but it still has a comic book feel, almost like Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3, if you guys have played that or seen that from the Nintendo Switch. It's better than that, but it has this similar feeling of that art style. So I think it's really good, especially when you get into the fights. The character animations for that are great. One character model, I have a little bit of a... what's the term? A little... this is it's probably not it. A little bit of beef with is Iron Man's character model. When he is in the suit, he looks great. When the visor comes up, for some reason, he looks like he has very shiny lip gloss on, and he's very made up and glowing. And then when he's out of his suit, facial hair wise, as far as I've known, Tony Stark has always had this goatee type thing. He's got this fucking 70s porn stash on. What? You don't even look like Tony Stark. You're just a dude who happens to be wearing the suit every day. It's so weird. That would probably be the only one I have a gripe with. Everybody else looks fine. Spider-Man's face looks a little off, but that might be just because I'm thinking Insomniac Spider-Man, at least the OG Insomniac Spider-Man. But whatever. Other than that, graphically, it looks fine. There's a little clipping here and there. For some reason, the caretaker, Sarah, whatever you want to call her corner of her eye is constantly freaking out on my screen of like pixels. I don't know why, but everyone else is fine. Nothing is like lagging behind or is dropping frames or anything like that. So it's really small things. Like I said, won't blow you away, but it's solid for what it is. Trying to think if there's anything else to talk about. I've really only run into a few bad guys, at least Marvel-wise, that are big bads. As far as I know, this Dr. Faustus guy with Hydra is kind of introduced in this game. Lilith, I don't know if she's a real big bad. She may be one of those smaller characters that I just don't know a lot about. The other characters that I have run into, there's been an appearance from Crossbones for a few times. So if you know, for the MCU, he was in Captain America Civil War and Winter Soldier. So you have that. And then you also have Venom in here, who's kind of like possessed by Lilith or like controlled by her. So he's been fun to fight the few times that I've bumped into him. I believe there's going to be a few other heroes that she will take charge of overall. Looks like Hulk's going to be a bad guy, Scarlet Witch, and then I can't make out this fourth one. We'll have to see what other bad guys kind of come into play against us later on with her or under her control. Yeah, it's been a fun time with the game. I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, it's a little bit weird at times bouncing between the two. I do enjoy both aspects of the gameplay that they do have, but sometimes I wish I didn't have to, and I guess I don't have to. I wish the gameplay elements weren't so staggered in terms of the strategy stuff. And I feel like, not that I'm going to get punished, but I'll be definitely left behind if I don't do everything, if that makes sense. But I'm looking forward to playing more. Maybe we'll revisit this topic down the road once I do finally beat it and give a more in-depth review, I guess, on the story. But so far it's been engaging, so far it's interesting, and I'm looking forward to playing some more as time goes.